All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Success Podcast. Now, today we are doing something a little different. I have always been an avid reader, right? From the time I was very young, I used to love reading. And I used to be into reading a lot of different books. Famous Five, Secret Seven, Sidney Sheldon, Agatha Christie. I used to read a lot of different books. But very recently, I would say maybe 2 to 3 years back, I started reading self-help books, right? And the reason I started reading a lot of these books is because I'm a public speaking trainer, and one of the key things that you have to develop as someone that wants to improve their confidence as a public speaker is you have to improve your skills in every aspect of your life. Simple things like being productive, working on time, building a brand for yourself, dressing well. Things like this are points that we tend to overlook when we are trying to build a brand, when we are trying to build a good name for ourselves. And self-help books have really helped me improve different aspects of my life aside from my public speaking skills. So in this series of videos, I want to talk about different self-help books that have helped me along the way, and I'm sure will help you as well if you actually start reading some of these books. Now in this video, I have selected one of my favorite books of all time. This is great if you want to build up your skills as a communicator, if you want to get to know more people, if you want to build a good reputation for yourself, if you want to become someone that people want to associate. If you want to be that type of charismatic person, then I want you to read this book by Dale Carnegie. This book is called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Guys, this is one of the most amazing books that you can ever read. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the 5 key skills that I learned from this book. I will not quote any stories from this book directly because I want you to purchase this and read it, right? Don't download the online copy, right? Don't get a PDF form of this book because honestly, it's not the same as taking the physical book and reading it. You feel that smell of a new book. You read each page. You can put a bookmark in between when you're reading. It's a completely different experience when you read. And when you read, you build up your imagination, you build up your vocabulary, you learn how to focus because most of the time we are so addicted to our phones, we are so addicted to our devices that we can't simply sit down and focus for a long period of time. And reading is one of those things that will definitely help you do that. So How to Win Friends and Influence People is the book that I want you to purchase and read. And I will talk in this video about the 5 most important things that you can learn from How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. All right, the first lesson that I took away from this book is to become genuinely interested in people. Guys, if you talk to anybody, the number one thing that anyone wants to talk about is themselves. Think about yourself, right? If you were to get into a conversation with someone, the easiest topic for you to talk about is yourself. Your work, what you're passionate about, the sports that you play. This is the most easiest thing, the most fundamental thing that you can talk about without getting stuck. And so, if you want to carry out a conversation with somebody, be genuinely interested in that person. Talk to them, talk about their life, ask them what they're passionate about doing, ask them about their work. Guys, like I told you, I'm not going to use an example from the book, but I'll show you or I'll tell you an example from my own life, right? When I used to work at the World Trade Center, finding a place to park my vehicle used to be impossible, right? Because if you come to the World Trade Center after about 8, 9 in the morning, there's no way you can find a parking space, right? And so I used to come a little early and then park my car. And every day when I used to leave at about 3, 4 p.m. I used to have a chat with the parking guy, right? And keep in mind, this is not to get any benefit out of that person. This was just me having a conversation with the parking guy, right? And the parking guy was really happy because I was one of the few people that never pulled a fuss with him about the amount that I had to pay for parking. Now, I've seen so many people do this, right? You just have to pay 200, 300 rupees for parking. And almost every single person tries to pull a fuss with the parking guy like he's forcing you to pay this money. It's his job, right? And it's your duty to pay this money to him if you have used a parking space. Now, I used to always pay on time. I never pulled a fuss. I used to pay whatever amount he asked. And I used to have a conversation with him because I genuinely like to have conversations with people, right? And I was having a conversation with him. I spoke about his family and I was talking about what he does and so on and so forth. And as we were talking, he mentioned that his daughter was having trouble purchasing some books, or he was having purchasing some books for his daughter. He was having trouble, right? And he said he was short of about 3,000, 4,000 rupees. And he just didn't know what to do at that point. And so I gave him this money, right? Because I found out he was going through a problem, I gave him whatever money that he was lacking. Would you believe that from that point onwards, he would always save a parking space for me, regardless of what time I came. I was like VIP. I could come in at 10 in the morning, 12 in the afternoon, 2 in the afternoon, and I know my parking spot would be there waiting for me, right? And I never spoke to him with the intention of getting VIP parking for myself, right? I just spoke to him because I was genuinely interested in having a conversation with this guy. I do this with almost everybody I meet. And this was just another person that I wanted to have a conversation with. But because I was genuinely interested in this person, I found out information about him and was able to help him out, again expecting nothing in return. And for the whole 3 or 4 years that I worked there, I never had a problem with parking again. Guys, this is a very powerful lesson that you should take away from this book. If you genuinely become interested in other people, you will be able to build up more meaningful relationships with those people. The second lesson to take away from this book is to never criticize, condemn, or complain. Again, guys, let me share an experience in an office that I worked at. All right. Everybody in this office environment were constantly complaining about their job. They hated their job, they hated the people they worked with, they hated boss, they hated their work, they hated everything. And they were constantly complaining. Every time somebody new would come in, they'd come full of energy. They'd come awaiting their career. They'd wait for their career to blow up. They come in with so much excitement, so much dreams. But 2 months in, they fall into that same boat of criticizing, condemning, complaining constantly. Because the environment was built in that way. Guys, it makes a very unpleasant working environment when you constantly hear people complain. I was able to do well in that office space and I was able to perform well, get promoted, get better salary increments. Because one of the things that I never believed in doing was complaining about the place I worked. Because what is the point in complaining about the place you work? If you're not earning what you want, if you're not getting the promotions you want, that is probably your fault. It has nothing to do with boss. It has nothing to do with your place of work. It's just your fault for not getting the promotion, for not getting the salary increment you deserve. And maybe even if it is your boss's fault, the best thing to do is then leave the company for a better package. Not stay in that same place and complain. A lot of the people that did get promotions in that company, that did get increments in that company, were the few people that had nothing bad to say about the company. Right? They would be positive about their work. Even if the work was tough, even if they had to work around the clock, they never complained, they put their head down, they worked hard, and they got the increments, the promotions they deserved. And the other people that felt like, okay, I'm in this company, I'm not getting the benefits, the compensation that I deserve, they, in a very smart way, they switched companies for better packages. Guys, complaining, condemning other people, criticizing other people is the number one way to ensure that you will never win over anyone or make new friends. Right? When you see someone in the morning wish them a good morning and say, hey, you're wearing a lovely outfit. Hey, good morning. You look really nice today. You look very bright and shiny today. You can pay people a compliment. Even if someone does a mistake at work, even if someone is not living up to your expectation of what a perfect person should be, don't pull them up and criticize them and condemn them and make them feel bad. Guys, even when people come to my public speaking classes, sometimes they're not speaking to the expectation that I would want them. But that doesn't mean I put them down, I criticize them and I tell them, hey, you're bad, you'll never be anything good. No. You have to always encourage people, lift people up, make them feel good. Because people will always work harder to live up to your expectation if you have high expectations of them. If you always tell them you are worthless, you are not good, you are bad, people will stop trying to work hard because they will start to believe that they are bad. But if you tell them, hey, you look amazing, you look good, you look great, when people start hearing these compliments, people will start to live up to that expectation that you have of them. I finished one of my 4-month training programs recently, and one of the students, when he was wrapping up the session, said, sir, every class I tried my best to live up to your expectation of me. Because when that student joined, he wasn't the best speaker. But I always encouraged him. I said, you have so much potential, you can speak really well, you just have to try harder, practice more. And the student said, I always practiced more and more and more every week till I finally heard you say, you are good, you have achieved your full potential. And that's what I told him on the last day. And he said, I was so happy to hear that because I did everything I could to live up to that expectation that you had of me. So don't make someone's day bad by criticizing them, condemning them, or complaining about your own life or theirs. Simply encourage people, motivate them, compliment them, and the more good things you say, the more good things are going to come back to you. So that is lesson number 2. Lesson number 3 or takeaway number 3 is directly tied back to takeaway number 2, which is give honest and sincere appreciation. If someone looks ugly as hell, I'm joking, nobody looks ugly as hell, right? But if someone is doing something bad, you should not go and tell them, hey, you're doing a really good job, because nobody is going to believe you. You have to give people honest appreciation, honest and sincere appreciation. You have to tell them, hey, look, you are struggling to speak, but you have so much potential to improve. If you can follow these strategies, if you can do these things, I'm sure you'll be able to be a fantastic speaker by the end of a month or 2. If you see someone at your place of work and if they're wearing a very nice t-shirt, you go and tell them, hey man, you're wearing a fantastic t-shirt, that looks really great. If someone has put in extra effort to comb their hair, style their hair, and they've taken a lot of effort to take that self-grooming to another level, you tell them, hey man, I love the effort you've put in, your self-grooming, you look great, you look fantastic. If it's a lady, you pay them a compliment about their dress, you pay them a compliment about the way they look. You can pay people compliments about the way they work. As a boss, as a manager, you should not expect your employees to work really, really hard without compliments, without appreciation for their work. Everybody wants to be appreciated. Everybody. They might tell you they don't want it. They might tell you they don't like it. I'll give you another example for this. My father, he always says, I don't want gifts for my birthday. I don't want a card for my birthday. We should donate to charity with the money you're going to buy me a gift with. But every year, I buy him a gift. Right? We buy him a gift, we give him a card. And, my mother is the most sentimental, emotional one in the family. But every single card that I have given my father, he has pasted it in his work, in his office, right, on the wall in his office. He says he's not sentimental. He says he's not emotional. But he's the one who has posted or pasted all the cards and all the things we have given him on the wall. It's really, right? So anyone, even if they say they don't want appreciation, they're fine to work or they're fine to do what they're doing without any sort of compliment or appreciation at all, they're lying to you. everybody as human beings, we need appreciation in our lives. We need a compliment or two to get ourselves going. So that is lesson number 3. Lesson number 4 is to see things from other people's perspective. Think of a romantic relationship that you've been in. If you're a man, one of the most common complaints that you would hear from your wife is that you don't understand what I'm saying. And one of the biggest reasons for that is we never try to think of a problem from the other person's perspective. There was a very interesting training program that I was a part of a couple of years back. And the guys who were conducting this training program, they were people who were involved in the rehabilitation of war-affected villages in the outskirts of Sri Lanka. So they were trying to get Tamil communities and Sinhala communities to merge back in with each other right after the war. And they said one of the activities they did when they were trying to do these rehabilitation programs was they would ask the Sinhalese people to imagine that they were the Tamil people, and they would ask them to list out problems that the Tamil people faced, what type of challenges, what type of hardships they had to go through. On the flip side, they did the same thing with the Tamil people, and they got each other to understand the experience that all of them went through from the other person's perspective. Guys, a lot of the time, we don't think about what the other person is going through, what the other person is facing in their lives. We only think about ourselves. We only think about how we approach a situation, how we feel. We never think about it from what the other person feels. But if we can do this, we can build more genuine connections with people because we will understand what the other person is feeling and going through, and will be able to react in a much better way. The 5th and final lesson or takeaway from this book, and I think this ties everything together, and I think it summarizes this book in one sentence, which is make other people feel important and do it sincerely. Guys, this is the message that ties everything together. When you're talking to someone, if you want to build a genuine relationship with that person, if you want to really build a lasting relationship with that person, you have to make that person feel important. You have to make them feel like a priority. I have a friend, and I haven't seen this friend in, I would say, maybe 3 or 4 years, right? I worked with him for a period of about 2 years, and he's someone to this day that I really look up to. I admire him, and honestly, I would do anything for this person. If this person called and asked me to do anything for him, I would drop what I'm doing and I would start working towards what this person wants. And I haven't seen this guy in 4 years, right? And I thought to myself, how was this person able to make me feel this way? Because I look up to him like a mentor. I look up to him as an inspiration to me. And I thought that was only to me. To find out, everyone else at office thought the same way about this person, that he was someone they could look up to, that he was someone they could go to a problem with. And I thought to myself, how does this guy do it? His secret is that he makes you feel important. He drops me a text once a month. A lot of my friends and I, we don't really have to talk to each other. We don't have to meet each other to know we are friends. But this guy takes the time to send me a message once a month, once every 2 months at least. He makes time to call me. And by the way, he is a much more important person than I could ever be. Right? He's a businessman. He's really well to do in life, and he has no reason whatsoever to maintain any sort of relationship with me. But he takes the effort to call me. He takes the effort to drop me a text. And I'm just one of the many people he does this with. But I feel really important that he takes the time to do that. And because of that, in my mind, I am ready to do anything for him at any time if he asks. That's the power, that's the impact that you can have on anyone in your life if you make them feel like a priority. One of the interesting things that I've found out is that usually, you know how ladies or women in general would say, I don't want to cook for my man anymore. I want to be independent. I want to do my job. But if you make a woman feel important enough, you compliment their cooking enough, you tell them that they make the best food in the world, the chances of them cooking for you is very high, right? And you don't just compliment them for the sake of it. You give them sincere, honest appreciation, and they'd feel more likely to do something for you in return. This is basic human nature. I just used that example as a bit of a funny joke, but that's the truth of human nature. If you make them feel important, if you give them genuine compliments, if you're genuinely interested in them, they will always feel like doing something for you. They will always feel like maintaining a good communication, good relationship with you. So guys, those are the 5 best lessons that I have taken away from this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I want you to take this book, I want you to read it, I want you to let me know what your thoughts are about this book in the comments below. The stories that Dale Carnegie has used are 100 times more interesting than mine, so make sure to go and check this out. I didn't use any stories from the book itself, simply because I wanted you to read it. So what I want you to do is I want you to read this book and comment your favorite story along with the lesson you learned down in the comments below. Alright, I want you to do that because trust me, this is a book that will change your life. This is a book that will help you make better friends. This is a book that will, if you're sitting lonely at home, if you have no one to talk to, this is a book that can change all of that. You will build better connections with people, you will build more meaningful connections with people, and you will be a happier person as a result of that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell so that you will know every video that comes out as it comes out. Share this with someone that you think it will help, and let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Till our next video, keep practicing.